And it's just good to know that everything that you're using in your household has come from and it's just good to know, I can't say renewable. Hello everybody, welcome to the video. I just thought I would do a video of some easy things that you could swap within your everyday life to try to be a bit more sustainable. These are all things that we've done ourselves and implemented in our own home over the last couple of years probably. So I just thought I would go through a few of the things that we've done and maybe give you some ideas if you haven't done them already, and also open up a discussion about sustainability within our own homes and our everyday lives. And maybe there are things that you've swapped out that I haven't thought about, or things that you could suggest to us. So I just thought it'd be really good to have a conversation about it. So the first one is, as resellers, we obviously do a lot of packaging and we send a lot of parcels out. And many of you that are watching this will also be resellers. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is reusing packaging and using more sustainable packaging. One of the things we've always done is reuse boxes. So we reuse any boxes that come in the house, and whenever my husband Nick goes off to drop things off at the parcel shop, the shop owner at the parcel shop where we drop our parcels off always gives Nick some boxes that he saves for him. So he always ends up coming home with lots of boxes. And we end up sending things out in crisp boxes or chocolate boxes, all kinds of funny stuff. But at least the boxes aren't going to waste and we're using them, and we've never had any complaints from our customers, so that's always a good thing. But we also use the cardboard from the boxes to cut up and wrap around fragile things and breakable things to use inside the packaging as well. So they're useful for all kinds of things, even if you have small boxes or really big boxes that you think that you'll never use. The cardboard is always good to have. And then of course there's void fill for your packages, and we save everything that comes in the house. So any void fill from other packages we save. We shred up old paperwork and any leaflets and things like that that come through the door. We use that as void fill as well. And we reuse any newspapers or magazines or anything like that that we have lying around. So we very rarely throw out any paper in this house. Everything just goes straight to be shredded, or we screw it up and use it as it is, as void fill. Another thing that I've swapped over in the last year or so is that I now use mailing bags that are used from sustainable bioplastic, which are made from sugarcane. And I get those from Josh. So I will link them below. Josh is another reseller, and he has a shop on eBay where he sells packaging, sustainable packaging. So yeah, I'll link Josh's eBay shop below, and then you can take a look at what he's got. But I really love the mailing bags, they're brilliant. For many years we've been using bubble wrap to cushion things and to protect breakables, but we've recently had a discussion about trying to swap that out, and I think one of the reasons why we didn't before was just cost. But looking into the costs of corrugated card, it isn't that much more expensive. In fact, actually, I think the one I looked at was cheaper than the bubble wrap that we buy. So we've decided that as soon as we've finished the roll of bubble wrap that we have, we're going to buy a roll of corrugated card to use to protect all of the breakable things when we package them. And we also buy rolls of craft paper that we can use as void fill if we run out of any of the reusable void fill or any of the shredded paper that we use. The craft paper is great for wrapping things as well, just to protect things that aren't quite as breakable, but you just want to make sure they don't rub together. So yeah, craft paper is just brilliant. So the second thing I wanted to mention is plastic-free sellotape. I've always steered away from using paper tape because it just doesn't seem secure enough. But since I found the plastic-free sellotape and tried that, it is brilliant. It sticks, It works really well. You wouldn't know any different between the plastic sellotape and the plastic free sellotape. So yeah, that's a recent swap for me and I'm really happy with it. It might be a little bit more expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but the good thing is that it is a viable swap. It really works and it's something that I'm going to use again. And of course the sellotape isn't just for packaging items that we sell, it's for wrapping presents or for any kind of household use. So yeah, it's a great swap for everybody. Okay, so number 3 is quitting fast fashion. Now, I can't remember the last time I bought something brand new from a high street shop. I have bought a couple of new items recently, but they've been from independent sellers and not from the fast fashion brands that we see on the high street. So, some really good reasons for quitting fast fashion. I've got 5 facts here from Greenpeace, so I'll read those out to you, and it really highlights the reasons why fast fashion is not a good thing and why we should shop for clothing much more sustainably. So the first one is quite shocking. Fast fashion is the world's 2nd largest polluter. Just sit for a minute and, really take that in. That is a shocking thing to really think about. The 2nd largest polluter in the world. Polyester, which is a plastic fibre, takes more than 200 years to break down. So once it goes to landfill, as many clothes end up in landfill, as soon as they go to landfill, they will sit for at least 200 years. Many people discard their clothes just thinking, yeah, just chuck it out. I don't wear that anymore. I'm just going to chuck it out. And it ends up in landfill, and people don't even think about that. They don't think where that goes once they've decided they no longer want that. But unless we recycle, repurpose, donate, clothing that we don't wear anymore ends up in landfill and it sits there for 200 years plus. So another fact is it takes 10 to 20,000 litres of water to produce just 1 kilo of cotton. Just 1 kilo of cotton takes 10 to 20,000 litres of water. And cotton that is grown non-organically uses 18% of pesticide and 25% of the world's total insecticides just in growing cotton. So there are many other facts, but those are the ones that I wrote down because they're just so shocking and we shouldn't take it lightly. We should really think about that and think about what we buy, what we wear, what we do with it once we're not wearing it, and how that impacts the world that we live in. So yeah, quitting fast fashion is another swap that I highly recommend and something that we've all done here. Fast fashion is such a big subject, it's a whole video in itself. So if you'd like me to make a video about fast fashion and about shopping more sustainably, then let me know, and just let me know in the comments below, and that might be something that I'll do in the future. It's something that I'm really quite passionate about, especially as I've resold clothing for a few years now, and I've really been educating myself about it, and it's a head shaker. It's quite shocking when you find out the truth and the facts behind it all. Which brings me on to number 4, which is buy second-hand where you can. So of course that's second-hand clothing, but also second-hand furniture, second-hand homeware, second-hand technology, phones, computers, anything and everything really. We can repurpose and reuse so many things. For example, our entire kitchen is second-hand, purchased from eBay, which was somebody's kitchen that they were discarding. They were having a new kitchen fitted and they decided to put their old kitchen on eBay. So on the flip side, if you're having a new kitchen fitted, don't just throw it away. Somebody may be able to reuse some of it, even if it's just the cupboard doors or, you know, the fittings. So much stuff can be reused. So don't, you know, before you throw something away, think about either giving it to someone else to use or reselling it yourself, because the bonus of that is that you can make a little bit of money back on it to offset your new kitchen or your new sofa or your new table or whatever it is that you're swapping out in your home. So as I've used those as examples, we do actually have a second-hand sofa. We have a second-hand dining room table and chairs. Our TV unit is second-hand. Second-hand side tables, a second-hand bed. So many different things that we've purchased second-hand and are more than happy with it. So yeah, before you think about buying new, second-hand is the way to go. I know that many people are not so keen on the idea of second-hand, especially second-hand clothes. Many people don't like the idea of wearing something that somebody else has already worn. Well, I'm here to tell you that we've been buying and wearing second-hand clothes for years, and I resell second-hand clothes, so I highly recommend it. I think it's a great thing to do. And just going back to the point of quitting fast fashion, when it comes to second-hand, we still buy a fast fashion brand second-hand because you're giving that garment an extra lease of life. It's not going to landfill, you're reusing it. It already exists in the world, so it's better to get some use out of it. So we don't have any qualms about buying a fast fashion brand second-hand, if that makes sense. But if second-hand isn't your thing, there are so many brands out there now that are selling sustainable clothing. They're manufactured from sustainable fabrics such as Tencel, Model, organic cotton, and not only are the fabrics sustainable, the whole manufacturing processes are also sustainable. The manufacturers, producers, workers are all paid well and they're treated well. And as a bonus to that, most of the sustainable brands are all independent companies, and supporting those brands is not just a good way and a sustainable way to shop, but it's a way of supporting a smaller company and an independent business. Okay, so now coming on to bathroom swaps. So I've got number 5 on my list here is wooden toothbrushes. We've swapped our plastic toothbrushes for wooden toothbrushes. All plastic toothbrushes end up being thrown in the bin once they've been used, and they end up in landfill, and they take years and years and years to break down. But wooden toothbrushes are a much more sustainable option. They don't take as long to break down and they're not as polluting. So that's my first tip for bathroom swaps. So the second thing that we've swapped out in our bathroom is disposable razors. We don't use those anymore. We've invested in a metal reusable razor. It's a safety razor, and the only thing that we need to do is just refresh the blades every so often, every few weeks. Packs of blades are widely available, so it's a really easy, cost-effective way and sustainable way to shave, because, you know, we all have to do it. I'm going to get comments now, aren't I, that we don't all have to do it, that some people just don't do it, and that's fine, your prerogative, whatever. But if you do, it's a good swap. Okay, number 7 is my third and final bathroom swap, and it is soap bars. So we don't use liquid soaps in plastic bottles anymore. We've swapped our shampoo to shampoo bars, which we buy from Lush. There are many brands that do shampoo bars, and there are lots and lots to choose from, but we've tried a few and we really like the ones from Lush. That's just our personal preference. We use just normal soap bars to wash our hands with now. One thing I will say though is be careful with purchasing soap bars, because a lot of them are still wrapped in plastic. It's really, really frustrating. I don't know why they have to be wrapped in plastic. They're in plastic and in a box, and I just don't understand the logic, but I suppose it's to keep it fresher. But it's just really, really frustrating. So one of my tips is that when I go around the boot sales or jumble trails or even charity shops, I look out for vintage soap bars, or I look out for soap bars that people have donated because they've been gifted them and never used them, and then I buy those. So if they are wrapped in plastic, at least I'm making use of something that someone's already discarded. But the vintage ones generally tend not to be wrapped in plastic. The vintage ones also tend to be a better consistency. I find that modern soap bars tend to go really mushy really quickly, but the vintage ones hold together a bit better. So that's another plus if you can find vintage soap bars anywhere. I did actually have a set that was sealed that I ended up selling online because we've got a basket full upstairs. We didn't need any more, and because they were sealed I thought somebody else would like them. So it's always worth looking on eBay or Etsy or somewhere like that for like job lots of vintage soaps or old gift sets of vintage soaps. So that's a good tip, something to think about, something to look out for. So whilst I'm on the subject of soap bars, I also use a facial soap bar now rather than a face wash in a plastic bottle. And I get that from a company that we use called Unpacked. I mentioned them in our last video. We get our pasta and dried food and all kinds of things from them, but we also get household cleaners and bathroom refillables, etc. from them. And I found a really, really nice facial soap bar which I've been using. So facial soap bars are a really good thing for washing your face, taking your makeup off, and it's a really good swap for face wash, so you're not buying a plastic bottle. So number 8 is along the same lines, and it's refill where you can. Some of the swaps that we've made for refills are hair conditioner. I did try to use conditioning bars like we've got the shampoo bars, but really didn't get on with that. So now I still get the liquid conditioner, but we refill it. We get refill food from them, such as pasta, grains, honey. Yes, even though I'm vegan, I still eat honey. That's another subject for another video, but yes, I still eat honey. Gravy granules. What else do they do? Hot chocolate, and also cleaning stuff like all-purpose cleaner, fabric conditioner, washing liquid. I've probably left out lots of things, but the possibilities are endless, and we have so many things that we refill now, so I don't have to buy them in their packaging. So if you can find a local refill company, there are many people that are starting to do it door to door, which is brilliant. As I explained in my video last week, Unpacked delivered to your door. I can't sing their praises more highly. I love them. But we also have a refill shop in town which do all kinds of stuff that Unpacked don't do. They do herbs and spices, coffee, tea. If there's a place that's local to you, seek them out, because refilling is just a great thing to do. And number 9 is shopping locally, so kind of segues into it. So yeah, shopping locally, choosing independent shops, many of which are family run, which we really relate to because we've had high street shops which were family run, and now obviously we trade online, but it's still a family business and it's a small independent business, so we try to support independent businesses as much as we can as well. And another great thing you can do in supporting local and independent businesses is choose independent local cafes. You'll find that so many of them use sustainable and compostable coffee cups, food packaging, whereas the bigger high street brands tend not to do that. We have a lovely independent coffee shop in town that use vegware, so we tend to choose them, and they also sell really nice hot drinks and use vegan milks, so many bonus points to them. We'll always choose them rather than choosing a high street brand. So number 10 is along the same lines, which is taking your own reusable coffee cup with you when you go out for coffee. That just avoids any kind of waste whatsoever, and is probably the most sustainable way to have takeaway coffee. And another thing that you can do is to make time to actually sit in the coffee shop itself or the cafe, so that you're not using takeaway packaging, using real plates, real knives and forks, real cups, real glasses. They'll get washed up, they'll get reused, and you're avoiding any kind of waste. It's also a really nice thing to do because we don't really give ourselves a lot of time to kind of just chill and relax and spend time with our family or friends. So making that time to do something is a good thing that we can do for ourselves as well. So number 11 is choosing to buy your vegetables and your fruit loose and not packaged, not in plastic. A lot of the supermarkets are now moving towards that, and there are many options that are now unpackaged, which is fantastic. Totally on board with that. But one thing we decided to do was to not buy our fruit and veg from the supermarkets, and we now have a delivery from Riverford once a week. The bonus of Riverford is that their produce is seasonal, it's organic, and they support local farmers. Obviously, Riverford is not your only option for that. There are other companies that do the same kind of things. So look into what you've got locally, if you've got any farms that deliver loose veg to you, or there's companies like Able and Cole, there's Box Fresh, there's Odd Box. There are so many options for that now, and they all deliver plastic free, which is just brilliant. Okay, so number 12 is eat less meat. So you all know that I'm vegan and I don't eat meat at all. So if you're not vegan, you're not vegetarian, one really good swap could be to cut down on your meat intake. It's been scientifically proven recently that meat production has a huge impact on the environment and on climate change. So cutting down on meat intake is just a really good thing that you can do for the environment and for climate change. Number 13 is another really easy swap. It is swapping to a brand that use plastic-free tea bags. My go-to tea is Clipper Decaf, and Clipper don't use plastic in any of their tea bags. I think PG Tips are moving over to plastic-free, and a few of the other bigger brands are following suit. So it may be worth doing a little bit of research and finding out which brands that you like that are now using plastic-free tea bags. So number 14 is switching to a renewable energy company. We've been with Ecotricity now for many years, and I've never had an issue with them. Their customer service has always been brilliant. Their pricing structure is really good too. They always keep it competitive and don't suddenly hike their prices up with barely any notice. I just really love them as a company, but there are lots of other options now, so it may be worth just doing a little bit of market research on that, finding out who gives you the best deals and who's the most cost effective. But switching out to renewable energy is just a really brilliant thing that you can do, because they will source their gas in a sustainable way, they source their electricity in a sustainable way, and it's just good to know that everything that you're using within your household has come from renewable energy sources, especially if you're working from home and you've got the lights on all day. In the winter, you've got the heating on, you've got your computers on all day long. It's a good thing to do. So number 15, last but not least, is compost if you can. If you have a garden and you have space for a compost bin or a compost pile, then it's a really good thing to do from home. If you can't home compost, many local authorities have compost bins that they pick up curbside. A lot of people don't realise that when you throw food away in your normal bin and it goes onto landfill, most people think, okay, well, it's biodegradable anyway, naturally it will just degrade. But actually the truth of that is that the lack of oxygen in the landfill site means that it takes so much longer for food to break down. It can't biodegrade if it doesn't have the oxygen, if it doesn't have the sunlight, if it's buried within the landfill. So it will just sit there for a long time and it won't break down, it won't naturally degrade. So composting is the way to go if you're able to. So if you've got to the end of this video and you're still watching, then firstly, thank you. Thank you for spending some time out of your day to watch this. I hope that you found it interesting. I hope it's been informative. If there's anything that you do that you think that might be of interest to us or something that we could implement in our household, then please let us know in the comments below. If you've got any other hints or tips or any other suggestions, then I'd love to hear them. I just think it would be a really interesting conversation to have. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Take care. Bye.